Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Think of all that time. Every wait in the winter. All those hours no one else saw. Every sprint in the summer. Think of every sacrifice. Early mornings on the levee. Late nights in the film room. Bus rides to playoff games. Every bump in the road. Every moment of ecstasy. Every moment of doubt. Years wondering. Is it all worth it? It's all led to this. Man, I got this. It's a 60-minute drive for a 60-minute game. After all the miles we've traveled, we're almost there. After all the hours we've worked, one more can make us legends. After all that time, this is our time.
Seems like no nonsense guy. Like he's
re-emphasize that for the Saints fans out there on TikTok. Caveman, what did you just say?
The rebuild starts right now. Marshawn Lattimore's gone, so the defense, like we're not getting any better.
Looking to get into Smith. What a pass! Not Dave! Cordell Smith with the game winner! Oh my goodness!
And that is why you have Aaron Fry pass the ball in.
A career year, and like you have you have the best quarterback in the league, arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and you've got the best edge rusher in terms of total sacks this season. And you're 4-7, and your playoff chances are hanging on by a thread. Let's make it interesting.
We're making it interesting. Come on. Give us the freaking home team. We'll take it.
Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Put him in there.
His back the elbow.
Who the heck is that guy?
Deflected good, help defense from the Warriors. Oh, what a pass! And Kuminga throws it down! This could be the pass of the year so far. You might watch every game the rest of the season in the NBA.
Mr. Announcer guy. So don't you go saying that you're never going to see that.
You're such a hater.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle on MB Radio.
We haven't even started talking.
Yeah.
I'm
already getting shots.
Shots
at Caveman. The Saints are
I saw that. I saw
on,
that.
Man. Already shots
fired. Overreaction Wednesday.
Jeez. But here we are on MBR station. We are letting our veterans' voices be heard. The boys are back in town again for another good week in sports. HG got some news coming from University of North Carolina. It's not about Bill Belichick
right
and his girlfriend.
Very interesting story. Sport we don't really cover on here, but this is just cool, so I figured we'd share it. But the UNC women's lacrosse team they just recently won the national championship, and interestingly enough, 3 sisters, all starters on that team, that are playing together, all differently, varying different age ranges. Like one's a freshman, one's playing in their last year of eligibility. One sister was for a while, tearing it up across the country in California at Stanford, was like the 2-time assist leader. But just recently, this past season, the stars aligned to get them all back onto the Tar Heels lacrosse team. They came together and they won the championship 12-8. I think the oldest and the youngest sister each had like 4 points scored, and the middle sister, she had like 6 or 7 assists in there, just dealing out. And also
lacrosse, no.
Also, interestingly enough, the coach of that team, her daughter is also on that team. So really a family affair going on there at the University of North Carolina. I guess they're just all about nepotism there. It benefited the women's lacrosse team. Obviously,
they're killing it.
They won.
You let me down. I thought you was going to talk about some drama or some rumors at the first of the show.
No, just cool story there. Obviously, Bill Belichick hired his son.
Looks like it's the Humphrey sisters.
The Humphrey sisters, yep.
On this team.
So crazy that they just all ended up on the team together to go on a championship run. So that obviously one sister's
freshman
final
goalie,
year of eligibility.
Betty Nelson from Littleton, Colorado, went to Columbine High School.
Hey, shout out.
It all comes full circle. That's why we're covering UNC women's lacrosse right now. Because in reality, we are really giving a shout out
her
to
and
Betty Nelson.
Her and Rowdy Beers. You think they know each other, both from Littleton, Colorado?
Yeah.
Maybe they crossed paths.
He went to Valor, right?
He did, yeah.
Possibly, then.
A kid named Rowdy Beers going to Valor High School. I can't possibly be what his name was. Yeah, they have changed that.
He's playing D1 football this year?
Yeah, he's a receiver.
Okay.
So
where's he playing at?
I don't know. I think he might have finally made it into like a power conference team. He was somewhere in the group of 5.
Let's see. Let's look it up real quick. Our next segment for the morning, though.
He was on FIU.
FIU looks like he's a tight end now.
Okay. Rowdy Beers coming to an end zone near you. While we're on the topic of college sports, the World Series, College World Series for softball and baseball, both getting underway.
They're kicking off.
The softball World Series here in Oklahoma City is down to its Elite 8 or Final 8 teams. So it's bracket 1, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. And in bracket 2, you got UCLA, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, and Oregon. So very heavy SEC representation.
Oh, yeah.
In there, which is usually the case. Probably, don't know a ton about the college softball, but if I had to guess, Oklahoma's probably winning it.
I know they got a nasty pitcher.
Their
pitcher is one of the best in the country.
They have made some national headlines, just the powerhouse that they've got brewing there. So if my unprofessional opinion here, that they're probably the team to beat and the team that's going to be hoisting whatever their World Series trophy is.
They got Tennessee. Game 1 against Tennessee is going to be tomorrow, 12:30. I wish, honestly, this sport got more coverage. On the ESPN site and like the ESPN app, the college baseball and college softball don't even have like their own tab. You have to go and like dig to the other sports section and then go to stats. It's a weird, you got to dig through go through a
It's
rabbit
a little
hole
unfortunate
to get to college baseball.
After you get through football and basketball for college sports, quick and accessible access to news, stats, highlights, that type of stuff for the other college sports just isn't as available. Like you really have to dig, and it makes it tougher for casual fans to get access to it. Not everybody's got the time to go digging through archives and figure out stats and everything, find all the stats, highlights, and news, rosters, that type of stuff. Then on to the Men's World Series, which is coming up here too.
That one is actually getting ready to kick
Yeah, it
off.
hasn't started yet, but we've got a number of brackets set. I'm probably looking at another SEC team. I know Tennessee won it last year. LSU, they were the team that they beat. They still got I know they got a really good team still. Texas, another powerhouse, and Vanderbilt, the 1 seed throughout all of this. Some other good teams in here. Oregon State, UNC. Look at them. They're in there. Oregon.
Coming in at a 5 seed.
Then you got some just some real like random schools. Rhode Island, Little Rock University.
Yeah, Fairfield.
Brigham. I don't know if I pronounced that right. It's like logos like a dragon with whiskers.
You got Central Connecticut in here.
Didn't even know that was a Division I school. Howbap.
USC Upstate.
Houston Christian. Okay. They're playing Texas first round. Columbia University.
There we go.
That. They got Ivy League in there. Didn't even know they had the baseball team.
Yeah, Binghamton.
Where do you play baseball?
What the heck?
Right. So definitely some randoms in here that you don't see in a lot of the other big college sports.
It could make for some pretty fun upsets in these opening series when, maybe Wright State takes a game on the 1 seed Vanderbilt, opening it up. We might see some fun stuff. But I didn't know they actually did this in these College World Series for the opening brackets. The highest seed is hosting all those games. So this one, Vanderbilt being the 1 seed in this Nashville regional, it's obviously hosted in Nashville, Tennessee, where Vanderbilt University is. But I think that's pretty fun. You get to travel around. Too. Home field advantage is kind of a good thing for them, but
kind of gives you a reward for being a higher seed.
Yeah, more less travel for your team after playing that whole season.
Especially when you're doing that with a tournament, for a college football bowl game, that makes a little more sense to maybe do it at a neutral site because it's just one game, But that's something I never quite got why the men's basketball tournament always it's immediately at neutral sites for the first 2 rounds, but the first 2 rounds, a couple of the high seeds get to host a bunch of the other teams, and they have tournaments in those regions. I think it's the 1 and the 2 seed, maybe even up to the 3 seed are hosting teams in that region. But that's not how they do it in the men's bracket. Okay, man, who are you liking for men's World Series here? What are you thinking?
Men's, honestly, Ole Miss, not looking bad this year. I kind of want to see a nice little run here from Coastal Carolina. That's one team that's been really hot this year.
I'm going to go in here.
They got Fairfield coming in on the first round. It looks kind of like a favorable matchup for them going into it. They're one of the ranked teams in it too, so they're hosting the regional.
I'm gonna throw out maybe kind of a crazy one, but give me Arkansas.
Okay,
Razorbacks, man.
I like that.
I could see that happening there. They were so close in March Madness. I'm going on a run. I've heard some really good things about that squad there too.
Calipari,
they got
hooked up some magic with them.
They got a lot of pride in that baseball team down there in Fayetteville too.
One regional I think could get pretty scary here is this Eugene one. Because if we get an Arizona-Oregon matchup right there, who do you think goes out with that one? That's huge
the Ducks
rivalry right there.
Are the better team just not like throughout the season, but that is a rivalry matchup, you know.
That's potential upset right there.
Like I don't care who's been the better team. Like a playoff atmosphere, that becomes just a whole different ball game, you know.
Arizona and Oregon are not too far either. It's not too far of a travel for fans to get there.
Arizona just has to get through Cal Poly. Oregon just needs to get through Utah State. Very, very well could do that. Well, off from college into the pros. What's going on in the world of MLB? Well, we'll start off with the least shocking news, man. The Rockies still suck.
Still suck.
Well, they're going to need Bo Nix to attend a lot of games.
Yeah, we need luck from somebody at this point. Like, might as well have him show up.
They won when he came out and threw the first pitch for him. It was a good pitch. 2-man Bo Nix. He's got quite the arm. Like, you know, nothing too crazy than like he just, you know, threw it straight down the plate, but it was a good fastball.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
They should have timed that. And then, do you know who Zacharific is, Caveman?
Is that YouTuber? He's always like got a bunch of crazy stories about his life. He's always like flexing.
Now his whole shtick is that he's like such a humble guy and such a humble, nonchalant guy.
Okay, I know which guy you're talking about.
Bro, he comes out to the St. Louis Cardinals game, and they're like showing them on the broadcast, and they're like, and there's the Cardinals' most humble fan. And he's like surrounded by all these like beautiful women. Like he's just got like
sweet.
A stack of huge cash in his hands. It's wild. He literally spoke his success into existence.
That's so sick.
I thought that was pretty funny. So shout out to the Cardinals for doing that. They are trailing, though, the Cubs in their division. That's a pretty tight race, though, right now between Chicago and St. Louis.
There we go.
The Cubs are looking pretty good this year, man.
They are not having a bad start.
Yeah.
This is good to see.
I'm liking what they're seeing. They got a real ability to put up some runs, too, from what I've seen from them. I mean, they can get it going in a hurry. My thing with them is that I've also seen them just get in absolute shootouts where it's just like teams, they're just hitting bombs back and forth with the other side. Phillies, that's a team to keep an eye on. They got the Mets pretty hot on their tail.
But they're sneaky.
Yeah,
they're sneaky.
Braves, man, what a disappointing start to the year. I thought they were going to be something, but obviously Jerkson Profar goes and gets suspended 80 games. Acuna Jr., I think he's designated to return from that.
No, he's back. He hit a home run on his first pitch back.
Oh, that's right.
He's back. That's the only real bright spot that they have.
I mean, they got him and Marcel Adunza. So I mean, maybe they can get something generated there. I think Chris Sale, he's a Brave, right? Great, he's a great pitcher there. Maybe they can get this season back on track. But I had a lot of high hopes for the Braves this season, and it's not looking very good for them. The Phillies, though, I think team to watch out for, where it's like they might know that championship window is closing for them.
They're really going to try.
They're getting older, but they still got a lot of talent in there. Kyle Schwarber's having himself a great start to the year, man. He is just
going to be tough.
He's crushing homers.
This pay-to-win Dodgers team got their billion-dollar man back.
Right.
Ohtani's back, and he's able to pitch now. So
hasn't done a ton of it, but
that's exactly what they needed, honestly, in the playoffs. They still were able to get the World Series win last year, but it was clear that we saw in those series that they needed some pitching depth.
Definitely will have it now. Dude, the NL West is just insane. Rip the Diamondbacks. I mean, 27-28 would be good enough to maybe have you in close third, maybe even second.
Yeah,
in some
if they
conferences.
were in the NL Central, 27-28. is still last, pretty much, if they swap with the Pirates.
Right, but you go look at the AL East. The Yankees, man, they got a
Just
pretty
dominating it.
They might just cakewalk to a victory and clinch the NL East here.
Because unfortunately,
Rays
I
are
don't know what
looking
happened
okay.
to the O's.
Yeah,
but Baltimore,
what a collapse from them.
They aren't even this conference isn't even competitive anymore now.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It used to be Baltimore and the Yankees just battling it out all season for like the last 2-3 years. Last season they were in the playoffs.
I don't know what happened to the O's. I know, I know free agency and injuries and everything happened, but I think they kept most of their lineup together rather well, and they didn't get, too gashed in free agency. It's just like a totally different team out there. Like they lost another tough one to St. Louis, gave up 7 runs there. They were one of those teams going into the postseason last year. Like they got some great pitching, great slugging.
They were one of the more deep teams last year.
High home run
in the playoffs.
Low runs given up potential. Now they've got one of the worst run differentials in the league.
And the 2 teams that everyone was like, oh, these guys are missing this. These guys don't have that. They were both in the freaking World Series.
Absolutely nothing can top the Rockies minus 174 run differential. 9-46. Question for all the viewers out there, and just for you as well, okay, man. I mean, if they continue on the pace they're on, is it safe to say that they might set the record for just worst professional sports season ever?
Oh,
Could we? Is there anything else that you could put above the absolute blunder of a season? Because our
highest paid players can't even play well.
One of our highest paid players is on the Cardinals,
and he's been off the team for almost 5 years. What, 4 or 5 years?
It's wild. Take me back to
when did we lose
2008, man. Special team there. It's real unfortunate. You could Tricky Dick Mumford, man. He just won't sell that team. And we could.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
They could just if they could put together even a respectable ball club, man. People in Colorado are starving for some good baseball.
Yeah. So Nolan Arenado is going to make $5 million from us this year. Hasn't been on the team in half a decade. He was traded to St. Louis in 2020, and
we also sent
paid by the Rockies.
What always flabbergasted me about this is that we also sent cash with him.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
We just really set this guy up. He could retire now. He's good to go
for real,
and he's still playing at a pretty high level. I'm not even gonna lie. Right. Nolan Arenado.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Cardinals this year. They'll be a fun team. I don't know if they've really got the depth just to match up against some more of these stacked teams. Like if they run into an LA, a Philadelphia, even the Mets, man. I mean, the Mets spent a ton of money on their lineup. Dude, Juan Soto, it's like the biggest contract in sports history.
Sneaky potential though to take the NL Central. Only 3 games back from Chicago.
Oh, definitely.
And their next series here, they both play the 2 worst teams in the MLB, pretty much. The Cubs are playing Colorado. I think that series starts tonight.
I think it's already started. I'm pretty sure they beat us 3-0 yesterday.
Jeez. And I don't know what the score of the first game of this series was, but
not losing by 3 touchdowns in the baseball game just almost feels like an accomplishment for the Rockies.
Or having it be like a close game, like a close football game where they win by a field goal. It's like, we don't need to be in 28-20 baseball games. It's kind of exciting. It's the only bright spot that we really see on the Rockies is when we score 20 runs, but we have 9 wins.
There's absolutely no technique from anybody out here. Well, I would brought up Juan Soto. I feel like he's been a little just underwhelming so far for the money that they've paid him. You know,
Same thing in
only
on the
45.
Yankees.
Only 45 hits, 8 home runs this year, 25 RBIs. Like Francis Lindor and Pete Alonso are just carrying. And I mean, he's made some nice plays in the outfield, I suppose. But again, it's nothing like, it's nothing that's making me like, oh, that's an $870 million player right there. Like,
Welcome.
hey, Ruby Smith.
Thanks for joining in.
Just, maybe he's getting off to a slow start, so maybe he'll pick it up as the season goes. But there's something to keep an eye on, I think, with New York is,
hey,
I've been a little underwhelmed. Just,
you might be able to get hot.
Yeah.
May 30th, they go and play the Rockies at home.
There you go. That's always a good get-going game.
There we go.
One last thing I got to add here before we take our first break and just kind of sign off on baseball is these Yankees fans like acting like Juan Soto just betrayed them so hard, like so terribly. He was there for one season.
1 or 2 years. He really wasn't.
Right, like it was a blip of time in the term of a baseball player's career. And they're acting like he was a lifelong player that betrayed them and went to their most hated rival. Doesn't make any sense. But that's New Yorkers for you, man. They're
one season. He did sign a 15-year, $700 million contract.
Yeah.
After that,
I guess you know what? If you're a Yankees fan, you're usually also a Knicks fan, and you don't want you don't really have a lot to look forward to with football, and your Knicks are almost out of the playoffs. So I guess you could be upset.
And he had already been moving around on different teams. Was on the Nationals in 2015. And then he finally debuts in the MLB in 2018. Goes to the World Series with the Nationals. And then he was traded to the Padres in 2022. And then the very next season was on the Yankees. So the past 3-4 years, he's kind of been moving around.
Been bouncing around.
He's a very good player, but has been on a few different teams. So it just feels like kind of weird. They all turn their back on him. Their bleacher creatures at Yankee Stadium had all had their backs turned to him for his first at bat. And anytime he was pretty much in the outfield, their first time in the outfield, first at bat, they all just turned their back. Didn't want to watch. He was there for one season. It's all right. You'll be okay.
They're dramatic. They really are. Well, that's going to do it for our MLB updates here. Still a long season. I mean, we're barely even halfway. We're barely even close to halfway through. We're going to head to our first break. When we come back, though, we're going to have some action to break down with the NHL and NBA conference finals underway. So stay tuned. We got all that and more coming up on Till the Final Whistle on MBR.
About the way I'm feeling, 'cause I'm not sure the time that I've taken, waiting for the never-ending fall. Was a time when I went there to meet you, but I left with fire. Yeah, and all our dreams lead to common destinations, and all our blood runs red, it runs red, it runs, and here we stand, trying to cope with this frustration, dealing with this so-called complex life. Dreams lead to common destinations, and all our blood runs red, it runs red, it runs, and here we stand, trying to cope with this frustration, dealing with this so-called complex life.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle on Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's letting our veterans' voices be heard. Welcome back, everybody. We got kind of history repeating itself, like HG said before we came back on the air, in the
Looking like-
NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
I mean, all signs are pointing to a rematch of
Oilers,
last year's
Panthers.
Stanley Cup. Oilers and Panthers both with commanding 3-1 series leads. History is not kind to the team that's
No.
down 3-1. I mean, I don't even know the official record off the top of my head, but it is not very favorable if you're the team down 3-1.
And it's only happened once in the actual Stanley Cup final. So Oilers nearly pulled it off last year and couldn't do it. I mean, we're in for an exciting series, but I wish we had something different going on here. I wish it could have been Stars, Panthers even. That would have been the coolest series.
Yeah.
The two really good offenses.
Big thing that's
going
been
at it.
bad for Dallas is Mikko Rantanen is just, he's gone quiet. Like, hasn't had a goal in 6 straight games now. It's like he's kind of disappeared in this finals. And he was one of those guys that I thought would play a big role for Dallas, who got the win game 1, really without a lot of the guys who I thought were going to be big for him. You know, Wyatt Johnston, Mikko were both pretty much non-existent in that. Tyler Seguin, he got involved here. Mikael Grunland, he was another guy that I had highlighted for Dallas. He was really good in this game. 1 goal, 1 assist. Matthew Sheen scored. Miro Hikason and Issa Lindell, the defenseman, also getting in on the scoring for Dallas as they came out really strong at home. 6-3 barrage, 5 goals. A 5-goal assault there in the the third period. Forced, one of them off of an empty net. And they just took it to Edmonton, who was, up 3-1 going into that period. And you're like, all right, looks like we got ourselves what should be a competitive series here. Dallas is looking strong and imposing their will. And
Yeah,
then,
steals game 1.
I mean, it's just been silence really from them ever since. We go on to game 2, where the Oilers win it 3-0. Stuart Skinner, good rebound game for him. He's really been exceptional in this series. I thought he was kind of just middle of the road in terms of playoff goalie. His play as a goalie in the playoffs. Excuse me. But this series, aside from that first game, I mean, he's been really good in this one. And Edmonton, they get obviously pitching the shutout here. 25 shot attempts on goal, didn't let a single one go in. Ottinger has been slowly declining for the Stars. And this one, like Connor McDavid, first 2 games was kind of quiet too. I mean, he got an assist in this one. Nugent Hopkins has been a real difference maker. Guy I didn't really have, on my radar making a huge difference in this series, but he's been, I mean, I would say maybe one of the top 3 players for Edmonton in this one here. Helps them get that 3-1 shutout, or the 3-0 shutout. Got the defenseman Brett Kolak also getting involved here. And then the series shifts back to Canada.
And this was dirty, man. Like you were saying, you're talking about Skinner having a pretty solid series. This one pretty shores it up. Dallas still had 34 shots in this game. Edmonton's 24. And the final score of this game was 6-1.
Lockdown goaltending by Skinner in this one here. And on the flip side, Jake Ottinger, just a brutal showing here. Yeah. I mean, none of these were empty nets either. I mean, he was in the goal for all of these. And there was a late power play goal. Well, they were already up 5-1 to really just put that nail in the coffin. And here was when Connor McDavid kind of came along. Obviously, got 2 goals. Yeah, he really woke up in this one. Him and Zach Hyman, each with 2 goals in this one. Bouchard, he got involved in this one. John Klingberg, also, so a couple of defensemen also getting involved here. And yeah, Edmonton, this is a deep team, obviously. McDavid still might be, I think it's still safe to call him the best player in all of hockey. Nugent Hopkins has been fantastic, especially this series. 3 assists. He assisted on 3 goals. Him and Evander Kane set up almost every goal in this one here. Excuse me.
It was really just the easy night in this one. And that's taking the series away, really just walking away with it. Starting to walk away with it. It was game 4. Another easy finish, 4-1. Oilers take the win here. 29 shots for Dallas, who also won 60% of these faceoffs.
You keep going, okay, man. I'm just gonna blow my nose.
You're all good. And even having more power play opportunities, and only having the ability to score 1 goal on it. But Edmonton just clearly looking like the more aggressive team in this series. And really, after losing that game 1, has been beating Dallas to the punch in this. 50 hits in this game to 24.
A little more fight out of Dallas in this one, too. They kept it close for a while, and then they went to the empty net down 2-1, and they just, an absolute collapse.
Which I feel like down 2-1. Why go empty net?
And they went empty net kind of early. There was like 3-ish minutes left to go in this game, like 2:30 maybe. So maybe a little less than 3.
I feel like you got to that's when you just try to get the puck to your guys and just give them an opportunity. Like, don't empty the net. Just try to get your best players an opportunity to score real quick.
Like Mikko, Wyatt, Mikhail, all just big no-shows. Did not have really any impact on this game at all. All minuses and their plus minus here. It was just another bad showing Nugent Hopkins, man, more assists he was dealing out here. Caprici Capin, man, he got his second goal of this postseason. He's been just playing his role really well, but he got a shot here on the empty net. Leon Draisaitl, probably his best game of the series. 1 goal, 1 assist. Adam Heinrich also getting a goal as well. And Skinner, 29 shot attempts on him, only 1 goal given up.
Another good night from him.
And Ottinger had a pretty good night here. 31, only gave up 2 goals. It was just, then I went to the empty net and just everything fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, like, your top guys can't really get going this series, so you might as well just empty the net, have an extra body out there for the chance somebody else to score. But at the same time, I feel like you gotta give yourself a little bit more of a chance there.
I don't like how early they went to the empty net there. I thought, that game, you're not quite in that spot where you want to just take that risk. There's still plenty of time, but I think that you just kind of see the barrage that Edmonton really had them under. And I think that it was a little bit of a mental thing. They got into their head and they thought that they had to, they were going to need 6 this early because they just felt like they couldn't do anything offensively for pretty much most of the night. I mean, they had 4 power play opportunities and only got 1 goal. Meanwhile, Edmonton was 2 of 3 on their power play opportunities. We mentioned all the extra hits, a lot more, 4 more shots on goal, more blocked shots. And then there's the 18 giveaways for Dallas. And a couple of those giveaways really at a really bad time that led to easy, empty net scores on the other end. So the Stars, they were my pick to win the Stanley Cup, but they are falling apart.
Yeah, this is the wrong time to do it too.
Here, yeah.
Game 5 of the series tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. We got a Game 5 happening tonight over on the Eastern Conference of the NHL, where Florida leads over the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 as well. And this one, Carolina took Game 4, 3-0. But going back, lost 5-2 Game 1, 5-0 in Game 2, and 6-2 in Game 3.
This might be a different story. I mean, again, being down 3-0 in this series has never been good. But Canes are starting to get some momentum at the right time, maybe, potentially.
This is better than winning Game 1 and then going on to possibly losing the next 4.
So, obviously, we covered Game 1 last week on their shows that occurred last Tuesday. Game 2 was a 5-0 trouncing by the Panthers. They just looked well in control. Stole another one on the road here. Sam Bennett was lighting them up. He had 2 goals. Matthew Tkachuk with a goal. Alexander Barkov, he also gets in on the action. Gustav Forsing, love that name. He got in it. Bobrovsky, pretty easy night. Only had to block 17 shot attempts. Didn't let a single one through. Yeah, the Panthers were cruising. They got up to 3 goals early and just kind of coasted their way in. The Canes going to 2 different goalies in that one. Not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, they just got worked over by the Panthers. So go on to Game 3 back in Florida. And not too far to travel for these 2 teams,
Yeah,
Carolina
it's not too
to Florida.
bad of travel time for them, really. This is a pretty good series for these 2 teams. You go into your Stanley Cup final very well rested. But another game, it just looked like Carolina might have had a chance going into the 3rd period until they allow 5 goals. Only able to answer back with 1, losing 6-2 in this one.
And for a lot of this series, Florida's been kind of using Carolina's defensive methods against them, and it's really bothering the Canes. Like really, really bothering them. and they've just been real struggling to score. We're able to get 2 on this one. Seth Jarvis, Logan Stankoven, but again, Florida with just an absolute barrage. To Chuck, no goals, but he does have 2 assists. Same with Rodriguez. Alexander Barkov, man, he's been really good this series. 2 goals in this one, also an assist. Excuse me. Sorry, folks. Allergy season.
Oh, it's killing me too most mornings, dude.
And then, hey, here's a Nico stepping up for his team in a big way in the
Nico
conference final game.
Mikola.
2 games for
2
the
goals.
defenseman. And Bob Roski, again, another pretty good masterclass. 25 shot attempts, only gave up 2. And Pyotr Ketchov, just another game where he really, really struggled. And so it looks like, oh, man, Carolina can't get anything going. They're getting just battered every game. You got game 4 at home for Florida. Get out the brooms, right? But those Hurricanes said, we ain't hear no bell just yet.
Yeah, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Some good defensive adjustments. They just kind of adopted a bit of a more, a newer zone technique here. And the Panthers just seemed a little confused by it. They had some trouble really ever getting it going. Bob Roski, he only gave up 1 goal in this game. And then it was another situation where there was just a collapse on the empty net.
Or late gets shot down. Yeah. I mean, nothing you can really control there. But more pulling the goalie for more desperation there late.
Yeah. Another situation where it's like, might have gotten in their head, 2:10 left. That's not crazy early to go empty net here. But you're only down, 1-0. And your defense, I think they just, they were like, we got to just get a 6th guy out there now because the offense has just been stagnant all night. We need a little extra help in there, a little extra action. And then a big collapse where they, gave up a score. That's actually a little earlier than 2:10, like 2:40, and then almost 30 seconds later, give up a goal. Nearly another 40 seconds later, give up another goal. And that just about closed it out here. So Carolina, it's going to be really tough to play like this for another 3 games to come all the way back. That's why getting down 3-0 is just so bad. And, Florida might have gone it. I think also came into this one looking a little overconfident.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe thought that they had this one in the bag already.
That's forced them 0 for 4 in power play in this game. This was actually the Canes' first lead in the conference finals that they've had in a few years. So since they were there in, I think 2022, they were in the conference finals. So they hadn't actually had a lead in a game in the series yet.
This was their first win in the conference finals since 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they honestly, Florida really had a chance too. I'm looking at it right now. They had a second goal that Carolina scored that got called back by just an offside by just a hair of an inch in the second period. Very early in the third, got called back. So this game could have been much different here for Florida. Could have been 4-0, 5-0 to finish it off. But what's up, Jose? Welcome in.
Jose, welcome into the show.
But it looks like we might see Florida and Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final once again.
Going back to our predictions here, I think I had Dallas, Florida.
We both had Dallas and Florida going here. And so we both had them winning in 6 games, actually. Well, we're kind of could be on track for 6 games for Florida.
I think Florida might, the Canes might get 1 more on them. I really feel like Dallas is going to get gentlemen swept, though, man. They just look absolutely all out of sorts. Be a different story. They're going to be back home facing elimination. That's going to be a different story. We'll see what type of game we get out of them there.
The earlier showings in this season from Dallas, a completely different team from what we've seen in the playoffs in these earlier
bad time
seasons.
for one of your star players to just go missing.
Yeah. The guy that was really just killing his former team in round one, big saving grace for him in that series. Honestly, had some big time goals. Second series, honestly, against the Jets, they were just firing on all cylinders. That's what I feel like made us go and pick Dallas to win the series against Edmonton, is because they just look so good against Winnipeg. Or maybe we just had Winnipeg should have been on fraud watch on that season. Got brought to Game 7 in round one.
Yeah. We probably should have had them on fraud watch earlier. Well, unfortunately, as boring as it is, it looks like we're just getting a rematch of last year's playoffs or last year's cup. And you know what? To be honest, that's not that unfortunate. It was a really good series.
Yeah, we
last
got
year
to
went to
Game
7 games.
Game 7 in Florida.
Some absolute masterclass performances from guys like Tkachuk, Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Sam Bennett. All those dudes were all just showing out. Bobrovsky, Skinner, all making some fantastic plays. So, will Florida go back-to-back? Will Edmonton finally bring the cup back to Canada?
We'll see.
What's your pick here, Caveman?
Honestly, it looks like they might. It kind of looks like they're the better team.
I'm leaning more towards Edmonton too,
Can't lie.
my friend. I can't lie.
I want to pick Edmonton. You know, I'll go Edmonton. I think it's going to be a series though. Oilers in 7, going to win it.
All right, that's
bringing
Stanley
it back
Cup.
to Canada, breaking the curse.
Stanley Cup prediction out there from our boy Caveman.
Who do you got, HG?
I kind of like Edmonton too. Give me Edmonton in 6.
Let's go. In 6? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't
like
see
him
it going
bringing
to
it
7
back,
again.
though.
Yeah. Finally break the curse. All right. Well, that's going to conclude our NHL Stanley Cup coverage. We're going to go take another quick break. When we come back, we've got NBA conference finals to break down. One series is all about comebacks. The other has been mostly blowouts until Game 4. So stay tuned. We got that and more here on Till the Final Whistle on Military Broadcast Radio.
On the front lines we stand side by side, with courage and strength that we won't let slide. Through the chaos, our hearts beat as one. Each brother's a soldier, into battle we run. When the shots ring out, we won't back down. In the silence of loss, we'll wear our crown. We are soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury, we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood that we shed. Together we stand, living for the dead. Each step we take through the mud and the pain, memories linger like the echoes of rain. We fight for the fallen, our spirit won't break. In honor we carry their names in our wake. Though the cost is high, our bonds grow tight. In the darkest of hours we'll shine our light. We are soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood blood that we've shed. Together we stand, living for the day. With every heartbeat, we carry their name. In the brotherhood force, we'll never be the same.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle on Military Broadcast Radio. The boys are back, ready to get into our NBA Conference Finals coverage. I think we got to start here where Mr. Overrated gets the 3-1 lead over the New York Knicks last night.
Resides in Gary, Indiana. I've been hearing that a lot.
There's some crazy conspiracy videos going out. Obviously, they're kidding around, but it's people saying that the Indiana Pacers are completely full of cursed energy and a satanic team in the NBA that has sold their soul. It is insane.
It's wild.
The reasons why about Halliburton's demonic energy in his knee.
They have had some insane comebacks.
Insane reasons why.
Like NBA teams in the playoffs are like 4 and 1,732 when you're trailing by 14 points or more with 2 minutes or less to go in a game. 3 of those 4 wins are from the Indiana Pacers this year. It's absolutely insane.
My God.
Like they have pulled off some absolutely insane comebacks like they did in game 1. They were down 8 points with less than a minute to go. They find a way to tie it up.
Halliburton game of the series, dude.
Gets a shot up after what looked like just a disastrous dribble and drive attempt to the basket. And he just runs back out beyond 3, puts up a shot. And like his foot was on the line. So it tied the game. Didn't send him home.
He hits Kawhi bounce.
He hits the choke Sully, the
choke and the Kevin Durant toe on the line, all in the exact same play. The way that it literally bounced straight up in the air, all the way up literally to the top of the shot clock.
Stealing all the iconic moments.
In MSG, too.
I mean, we got some fantastic performances, too. Out of some players
43,
here.
Halliburton, 31. And only 4 free throw attempts from him in this one, too.
Brunson,
Neesmith came alive, dude.
Brunson got his ass in the line. 14 shot free throw attempts.
Neesmith made 7 threes in the freaking fourth quarter, I swear to God. 7 threes for the Pacers. He had one shot.
Dude, he could
in the
not
freaking
miss.
third quarter.
He was an absolute flamethrower in that fourth quarter. And then he hit multiple big threes, back to back to back, to help get that last shot available for Halliburton.
Where was he at? He had really been quiet the entire playoffs and just comes out of nowhere in this game 1 of the Eastern Finals.
Right.
And just cannot miss.
Some insane magnet ball from the Pacers this series.
It's
all postseason. I think he was really good in this game. 35 and 12. But it just did not matter. Hallie and Neesmith. Siakam, I think, had a pretty solid game as well. 17 points for him. Nembhard gives you 15. You get 14 out of Turner, 8 out of the top end. TJ McConnell gives you 10 off the bench. Mathurin gives you 9 off the bench. You're getting 10 boards out of Obi Toppin. That was really what just made the difference. Very top heavy here for the Knicks. 16 for OG and Bridges, 43 for Brunson, 35 for Cat, and then rest of the guys kind of fall off a cliff. Miles McBride gives you 9, but then that's the next closest, your next highest score. Really was what allowed the Pacers to claw back into this, as they just found ways to make Cat and Brunson uncomfortable, turn the ball over, or just not be able to convert.
It leaves them really outmatched too.
A lot of turnovers for the Knicks in this one. Turnovers killed them down the stretch.
It leaves them real outmatched because they get to a certain point where it's like their rotation is very limited, obviously. They only had 3 guys come off the bench and play in this one. DeLon Wright got no minutes here. So, I mean, he played no minutes and still had a negative plus minus. It's kind of messed up that they did that to him. But anyways, they had 3 guys coming off the bench. There's absolutely nobody. And you go around the other way, like you were saying, 3 guys almost got 10 plus points coming off the bench.
All of your starters are scoring 14 or more. That's huge.
The starters are going off.
Yeah,
if you really the Knicks offense sometimes is really interesting to me, because it's not like they're getting the looks that they want defensively, because they're trying to run a lot of pick and roll. The Knicks are. And I feel like if you're Brunson, do you really feel like Halliburton, one-on-one, could really match up speed with him, step for step, and guard him like that? I feel like that is kind of the matchup they should be looking for. And they constantly screen away from it and then get back and then try to scramble back to that matchup late. And it ends up they end up having possessions late in the shot clock where they generate these turnovers, or it becomes a missed shot. It's I feel like Brunson on Halliburton, you have a pretty favorable matchup for how Brunson likes to physically get in the post, for how short he is, and just take him that way. I feel like they should kind of have some opportunities where it's just him and Halliburton.
Brunson's been pretty good at scoring on whoever's on him, but I just feel that would be your most. You could rely a little bit less on Brunson trying to get to the line and more on him just scoring off of pure buckets. Because I think on the flip side, Indiana's been pretty good about seeking out or trying to get Brunson in that action, get him on Halliburton, because Halliburton's so fast. He gets that first step on him, and I mean Brunson's just cooked. He can't.
Oh yeah,
he can't keep up. We go on to game 2, another insane game coming down to the wire in the Garden, and again in this one, the Knicks started to build a little bit of a lead. And then it just all fell apart late, and they just missed some crucial shots late in the game, some costly turnovers late, and another one slipped out from their fingers. Pascal Siakam, legacy game for him, playoff career high, 39 points. Another good game out of Brunson. He gave you 36, 11 assists. They did try to make him a bit more of a playmaker in this one, and he was very good at that. He still found a lot of value.
Good. And honestly, when he is really their second option, they got a very good thing going there offensively.
Halliburton with a near triple double. He had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists. Also a couple steals for him. Each one of the Indiana starters recorded at least 1 steal in this game. And again, it was just you got some good performances. Brunson obviously had 36. Townsend Bridges gave you 20. OG gave you 16. You'll take that. But then Josh Hart with 6. That's your next closest guy. When you've got TJ McConnell giving you 10 off the bench, Nembhard with 12, Turner with 16, Neesmith with 12. It's just more. They're just getting more scoring from more places. Oh man, Tony Bradley coming in and scoring 1 point off that Pacers bench.
They have Tony Bradley. I didn't even know he's still in the NBA. It's insane.
Hell yeah, man. He's out there getting active.
This one right here, I really was like, man, Pacers in 6 was a pretty solid prediction by the two of us last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Game 3, Knicks took it, but I feel like they almost played it a little too unsafe. They nearly took this one to the foul game. And we saw what happened to the Thunder and the Nuggets series. If some of those series did not come up to those free throws, and I feel like the Thunder probably that series would have been a lot differently.
Yeah, certainly could have ended a lot differently. This one, you got a little more. I think that this is the Pacers. They were a little off here. Neesmith and Nembhard both had pretty bad games. Halliburton, like 20, but it was like a pretty quiet 20.
Yeah,
Miles Turner, Siakam, both sort of quiet. TJ McConnell was good off the bench, but the rest of their bench wasn't that good. I think you just got good point performances and solid showing out of the bench. Landry Shamet was able to come and knock down a 3. Josh Hart coming off the bench, kind of the right move there in this game. Him and Miles McBride both coming in off the bench, giving a little more energy to the bench, and Mitchell Robinson back in that starting lineup. If anything, for more just a defensive presence. Cat led the way, scoring 24 points. He had 15 rebounds. Brunson, he got to the line a ton. Cat got to the line a lot. Like the Knicks relied a lot on the free throws. And this one, they did put the Pacers at the line a lot, but the Pacers were pretty bad. I mean, compared to like a 90% clip from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Where that almost is kind of where it comes down, is just the Pacers not being able to convert on their free throws.
And this was a 20-point comeback from the Knicks. Like they still allowed 22 points off of their 15 turnovers. So they really were kind of getting beat.
Right.
They're still in that trouble turning over the ball. 15 in this game, but the Pacers were right up there with them with 14. So they just allowed 22 points off turnovers. I mean, that'll put you down 20 pretty easily.
Like Indiana, really bad shooting the 3, which is unlike
20.
them. They just kind of had an off night, just overall in general. And despite that, yeah, the Knicks still had to come storming back. It was them not hitting those 3s that I think really stopped this game from getting out of hand, because it wasn't like they were getting bad looks. I mean, they were running plays beautifully, setting up those looks very well. It was there available for the taking, and they just weren't able to convert. But yeah, Cat put on his superhero cape late to get New York back in this one. So they got a game on the road. We were yet to see a home series victory until we got to game 4.
It was on Dominican Mother's Day. So shout out to Cat. Lost his mother a few years ago. He is actually a Dominican. So he was celebrating it. So it was good performance that he got to show out for his mom that day. But going into game 4 here, the Knicks did not look so good in this one. At least Halliburton just looked amazing. 32, 15, and 12 without a turnover.
His dad was finally allowed back at the stadium. And yeah, he was fantastic. Siakam also scoring 30 points. And then Benedict Mathurin, unsung hero off the bench. Best game.
That's my guy right
all
there, dude.
Playoffs
That's
from him, probably 20 points off of that bench. Yeah, he was just huge for him here.
He can really get going for them as like the leader of their bench unit. Like I feel they have really good potential with him. Because
and what's crazy is he did that all in 12 minutes. He got to the line 11 times.
11 free throws?
Yeah.
And this guy's just out there playing like a little mini Brunson if you're seeing the free throw comparison. Got one less free throw than Jalen Brunson and played like half the time. 25 less minutes of basketball. Got one less free throw.
Right. Again, not a great game for the Pacers in terms of their free throws, only 84%. But then the Knicks were also pretty down, only at 84% there. Those few points in these games can really make a huge difference.
They're big.
Brunson, we're talking about him and his free throws, 12 of them in this game. 31 points, 5 assists. Doing some stuff on the defensive end, which was surprising to see. It's just something you don't usually see out of him. With the 2 steals, 1 block. Josh Hart, yeah, him coming off the bench has been a decent move. I mean, he had 11 rebounds in this one, 12 points, but he did foul out and turn the ball over 5 times.
Yeah.
So it's been tough for him, man. He has had a lot of plays, I'll say, that don't show up on the stat sheet, hustling for loose balls, that type of stuff, which is why you have a guy
That's why he's on the team.
like Josh Hart.
That's why they got Josh Hart.
But I would like to see some more games like this from him, just in terms of getting more rebounds, maybe scoring some more points, because with just all the depth that the Pacers have, it's just something the Knicks need. I mean, Mitchell Robinson only scoring you 6 points. Hart with 12 points off the bench. I mean, the next 3 guys combined for the Knicks bench all equal to that. So only 3 points from McBride, Delon Wright, Landry Shamet. Cat, he had another double. OG Anunoby only hit 1 3, and it was just an absolute prayer with the shot clock winding down.
This is the craziest shot you could imagine.
Huge time for him to hit it too, but ultimately wasn't enough. I thought Mikal Bridges, man, they got to try to get him some more jump shots on the 3-point line, dude. He was pretty lethal.
Only 5 attempts in this one. And honestly, again, to bring up something that the Knicks are doing, that obviously easier said than done. But I feel like sometimes they do just kind of make small little mental mistakes in these games. They had a fast break in the last game, the 106-100 game 3, where it was a fast break. Halliburton tosses one down to Siakam, and he catches the ball pretty deep under the basket, to where he's not really able to do anything except for pick a direction on the baseline and dribble out without stepping out of bounds. And OG Anunoby picked up a blocking foul by sneakily trying to push Pascal Siakam out of bounds. And it's in that moment, think smart right here in the playoffs and stop trying to push people out of bounds and get a quick turnover on the other team. And
Cat's still having that issue where he picks up dumb fouls that put him in foul trouble sometimes. That's another thing that has he hasn't been as available for them because they gotta have him on the bench because he's just again getting some of these dumb fouls. I don't think it's been as egregious in years past, but especially in games 2 and 3, I thought he got this in trouble pretty early. Same thing with Brunson. Ultimately didn't end up costing them.
Having a lot of fouls in this type of lineup is not good at all. At least considering how much minutes you and the other 5 guys are probably going to be playing
it's not
together.
A super deep rotation here.
You probably don't want to have even Cat 4 fouls. I feel like he would have had maybe 34 points in this game if he had only 2 or 3.
Well, it causes him to have to play more passively too, especially on the defensive end, which he's
because he got no blocks in this one.
Yeah, he can be a real factor on defense. I've seen that from him. He's a pretty good defender, but if he gets in the foul trouble, he just can't defend.
The same way that he wants to,
he's used to.
I think a big MVP of this series also is Rick Carlisle, Pacers head coach, because in multiple post-game interviews has been absolutely trolling Tom Thibodeau, and Cameron Payne, for example, is who's been having pretty quiet postseason and hasn't really been utilized too much in this series. Obviously, Rick Carlisle in many interviews has been complimenting those players in sort of a way to get him to give him some minutes out there. Be Cameron Payne, very lethal shooter for him. But in this game 4 here, doesn't even get it. Doesn't even see the floor.
Hasn't even been on. Hasn't even sniffed it.
He had one game earlier in this series where he was 2 for 7. I mean, that was just funny levels of troll for Rick Carlisle right there, because this is getting to be a pretty good, obviously a classic rivalry between these 2 teams, but with the new rosters and the teams being built up, competing again, this is good rivalry right here. Between these 2.
Every game, despite the Pacers with a 3-1 series lead, every game has been super close. It's just been a really great series to watch. Game 5 tomorrow night, back in New York. Caveman, what are your predictions? Does Indiana close it out, or do the Knicks find a way to survive?
Honestly, man, the Knicks kind of look defeated after this game 4. I can't even lie. I want to be hopeful that they can take it to a game 6, make the series a little bit more interesting, and then possibly Indiana goes and wins it in the game 7. But I'm going to take the Knicks in this one. I think they're going to rally back here. This is going to be another cat game. And I think I think they're going to utilize, like I said, they're going to try and get Brunson in the post against Halliburton. And I think it may not be him pure scoring, but I think that does get him to the line a lot. I think it's going to rattle Halliburton a little bit. That's my prediction there. I think Knicks take this one and Cat comes alive. I want to see that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see one more big showing out of the Knicks starters here. Give me like Brunson's going to have like 40 something. I think Cat's going to be like high 20s to low 30s. They're going to be like real. I think the role guys are going to be real lights out from 3. They're going to hit I think they're going to be really well from 3. They're going to rally behind that MSG crowd, facing elimination, home crowd cheering them on.
Yep.
I think they're going to come out. They're going to give they're going to give one good really rally to force game 6, but I think ultimately then they're going to fall.
Here's my shout out Jimmy Covers. This is my best bet breakdown. If Campaign gets minutes in this one, bet the over on 3-pointers made. Bet the house on it. There we go. Campaign. Over.
God, I hate Campaign's jump shot.
He does. He's one of the uglier ones in the
It's
league.
disgusting to look at.
When he was like a 6-man on the Suns, dude, he was kind of knocking it down.
Yeah, he was.
It was when it's ugly and it goes in like Halliburton, then you can't really say anything. But like 2 for 7.
Right. So when it gets ugly and it's not going in, I'm just like, ugh.
Then you're like,
even then, even when it was going in for him, I was just like, how, bro? That just looks disgusting going up. It's no, what's his name? Streamer guy, XQC. Have you seen his jump shot?
Oh no,
I'll have to send it to you or something, or look it up, folks. You do got to see this. Like this, he's just a Twitch streamer, but like it looks like he's glitching when he like shoots the jump shot. It's wild, and it kind of works for him. I mean, like there's no way it would work in the game because like his release point is so low. I mean, that's gonna get blocked so much.
Time.
Like if
he's got a little bit of height on him too. If he just he got it up there.
It's a gross release point. Well, we can sit here and talk about ugly jump shots all day, or we can get to a couple guys that have some nice jump shots here.
There's some good jump shots in this series here.
SGA, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, definitely one of my favorites.
Just a pure hooper right there.
But this one.
We got into game 1 last week on the show. If you want to see our thoughts on that, you can check out last week's episode.
Which
game
was brutal.
2, another blowout. Minnesota made it look a little closer. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think he was big minutes for them off the bench. Julius Randle, that's the Julius Randle Knicks fans were born in Minnesota. About 6 points, 2 for 11.
He was having such a good playoffs. Yeah. I was ready to crown him as like one of the best performers. I was saying it last week that they just need a little bit more time because even when they were losing, like game 1, he was on. Even though they got killed, he was the only one scoring. This one, I feel like they're just that much closer if he's hitting some shots.
Yeah. This is probably the most perplexing thing is how Mike Conley went plus 14 despite only scoring 3 points and going 1 of 6, having 1 turnover and 2 fouls. He had 3 rebounds and 3 assists, so those must have been.
Boards and assists helped them back up, I guess.
Those must have been crucial. And on the flip side, Dante DiVincenzo, minus 27.
I need to see. I want to look up one day how they calculate the full plus minus. So they calculate it like if you're just on the floor when a good play happens. Because he did play 28 minutes. Like there could have been a couple steals, or like a pass that led to an assist.
That
from
he was
some
near
other
or something.
teammate. Yeah.
Well, I hate to say it, but SGA is definitely playing like an MVP. 38 points in this one. 12 of 21. Some pretty good shooting. He had 8 assists as well. 3 rebounds. They've been trying to make him a bit more of a playmaker here. In this game, I'll tell you why Dante DiVincenzo is minus 27 is because they were just hunting him with those pick and rolls.
He could not get a break in this game.
Well, and they kept fighting through the screen and like having it set so high, so like they just get like Shea just kept getting like so much runway to drive towards the basket.
Leads the league in drives, and they're setting up their offense exactly just for him to have the clearest path to the basket to drive.
And he popped off, and then his guy Jalen Williams, he also popped off. 26 and 10 out of him. J-Dub only really one cold, really like 1 or 2 games where he hasn't really been on, but he is having himself, I think, a fantastic postseason.
Having
as well.
a really good role in the offense too, like bigger role than I really expected. They're like coming alive as like a second.
I think he hits
option.
like some timely threes too. I mean, OKC was pretty atrocious from 3. They were 9 of 33, but it didn't really matter. I mean, they were pretty much having their way inside. They shot 50% from the field, 45 of 90 from there, and the Wolves just pretty ugly on the opposite end. They were 41% from the field, 28% from 3, 77% at the line. Neither team was super good at the line, but SGA got those 15 attempts. Nobody else really got close to what he took in that one. Chet, 22 points. I think a lot of people forget, man, he was a 2nd overall draft pick. So this Thunder team is just so stacked. And their defense was just giving the Wolves fits, and T-Wolves have a good defense, but they were just finding ways to carve them up. But I think the Wolves, they made some pretty good adjustments in game 3 rather.
Well, they had a huge blowout, 143 to 101. And I mean, in this game, really, SGA had a bad night on. Let's just be honest. You're going to have a bad night every once in a while.
And I think they made some great adjustments here where instead of like fighting through that high screen and trying to guard them almost up at the half court, they had what's his name? Jaden McDaniels kind of hang back like just above the 3-point line. And when that screen comes up, they, instead of like letting it switch or trying to fight through it, he goes under it, and just let him get back in position a little bit easier.
Really just set his feet and stay with Shea.
And they did a good job of just like making sure Dante DiVincenzo did not get put into that action and on Shea, and he didn't have to guard him. And Shea struggled. They tried to make him a bit more of a playmaker, and he struggled to do that. And also, the Wolves just shot lights out. They were on from everywhere. I mean, they hit 23s in this game. They were 20 of 40. They were 57% from the field. So just they were shooting lights out. I mean, everyone was having a great game. Like Terrence Shannon gets in the game for 13 minutes, drops 15 points. You get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 12 points off the bench. Nas Reed.
Rob Dillingham got minutes.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Did. Only scored 1 point, but he'll
got
get
a free
there.
throw.
My goat Joe Ingles didn't get to sniff the floor. I'm so angry about it, but that's all right. Yeah, DiVincenzo wasn't minus 27 tonight. Leonard Miller, bro. This guy coming out here scoring 11. Some of these guys were in garbage time, but Ant, Julius Randle were definitely on. 24 out of Randle, 30 out of Ant. And Anthony, I think Edwards has been doing a great job of just contributing so many different ways for his team. He's been their leading rebounder, like second place and rebounds almost every game. He had 9 in this one. He had 6 assists, 2 steals. He's playing really well. And if the Wolves, but the big problem here is that I don't know if the Wolves, I can't imagine they shoot like this every series. I mean, they were just like, it was just, they were on point.
This was
felt like they couldn't miss,
And it's kind of like the Thunder were saying post game that, like, even if they made the adjustments that they need to make, that they needed to have made in that game to, like, may it possibly win, like, they still most likely would have lost because of how the Timberwolves were shooting and just how well they were playing. Like, they were just a better team that night.
So
they didn't seem rattled whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Dagnalt, we saw some of those little adjustments that they could make, and late in the game where they didn't want to let Ant, get those clear driving lanes and everything there, and they were bringing some of those bigs up high to help make it tough for him to find a lane or find somebody to pass it out to. But I don't, good coaching by Dagnall by not showing too much of his hand. Like, you're kind of getting crushed. They're not missing everything. Like, yeah, you make those adjustments, but then they're going to see what those are. And like in a game where you're probably not going to win, do you want to tip your hand that much? He clearly didn't want to. So the Wolves walk away with the big one here, but then you get to game 4, different story here.
Where they just come right back. They lost by 40 points and then win by 2.
First close game of the series here, too. 2 points. Shea dropped 40. And despite them, still trying to keep that similar strategy where they were fighting under the screens and instead of like giving him room to drive, but they just, he got the ball out of his hands a little quicker, and then they were getting it back to him and letting him get to different spots.
And dishing it though in this one, 10 assists.
Right. I mean, he was almost at a triple-double. He had 40 points, 10 assists, 9 boards. Yeah, he was all over. He was just all over the floor, making a huge difference. And yeah, the Wolves, they just didn't shoot as well. So there were kind of some of those bad looks that they were just knocking down the game before. They were getting put back into those situations, and they just weren't able to convert them again. And like the Thunder's defense, the way they can swarm and help is just, it's just second to none. Like how their movement out there. I mean, like the way they bring these double teams, you think somebody else will get open, but they can rotate back so quickly. They're so well coached there. I mean, this is really a historic defense that we're seeing. Like they can just cover so much ground. And despite another 34-point performance out of Jalen Williams, 21 out of Chet, he had a huge 3 blocks, but not huger than one where Jaden McDaniels really got a good look. He was kind of off balance, and the way he recovered and got up in time, using his non-dominant hand and blocked that shot. I mean, that looked like an easy 2 for McDaniels, and he wasn't able to get it.
That was a great point to mention J-Dub here too, though. When your second scoring option's contributing and complementing your MVP's 40-point near triple-double with a 34-point game with 3 steals, him getting 5 assists himself, he shoots so efficiently. I didn't even really know he's taking 24 shots in these games.
Right.
Like, it really doesn't feel like you shoot the ball that much when you watch the Thunder play.
I'll say, if you're the Timberwolves, one thing you kind of hang your head on, Randall, again, was bad. Can he get back? Like, he just wasn't hitting his shots. He only had 5 points. He was 1 of 7. And then they committed a lot of resources to Ant, and some other guys really stepped up. 22 out of McDaniels, 21 out of DiVincenzo, 23 out of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I mean, him and DiVincenzo are both 5 of 8 from 3-point land. Like, all right, can these guys continue that? And can we get, some more easier little alleviation from this pressure that the Thunder are bringing to him on defense? Maybe get him going shooting some more. Can Randall score better? Problem is, I don't know if that's, like the performances they got out of these guys, if that's going to be something sustainable that they can live and die on. And the Thunder have kind of figured out how to disrupt Randall and Anthony Edwards. That's where most of the help is rotating. And I think it didn't burn them in this series. And I think they're willing to live with guys like McDaniels, DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker, Naz Reid, what have you, even Mike Conley. They're willing to live with those guys taking more of those shots.
Because Mike Conley
and being forced to score more.
Mike Conley's not been a threat.
Yeah, he's been really quiet.
Which is unfortunate because Unk is one of my favorite players ever. Was never really given too much opportunity. Got too much help with the Grizzlies. Had Mark Gasol there for a little bit. They were a pretty solid duo, I can't lie. But Mike Conley's cool. And it's like having Russ on the Nuggets to see him try to get his first ring. That's how I feel watching Mike Conley with this Timberwolves team. But in my opinion, though, my prediction for this Game 5 tonight, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going with the Thunder to get one more win.
I am too.
One more win for that 2016 team that lost to Golden State before it all blew up. You need one more win to just get it back for that 2016 team that lost to the Warriors. It blew a 3-1 lead to the Warriors that year.
I hate the Thunder, but this has been a pretty great postseason for small market teams. And I'm really happy that it's looking like two smaller market teams will be representing
two teams
the
with
NBA
no
finals.
rings.
I think that's going to be good for the league, just to maybe get some more, star power evenly distributed and some bigger names coming out to these smaller market teams. Something I just think it would be good for the league.
I got high hopes for this. But on the other hand, May 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got the Knicks Pacers. Like we said, we're both going Knicks here. I think Pacers win this one in 6, though. They go back to Indiana in Game 6 and take it.
Why I got the Wolves losing is they're going to be on the road, and I just don't trust the role players to play as well as they did at home.
It's going to be
just
an
always
insane atmosphere. Small market team, but OKC, that's not an
they
easy
always
place
go
to
hard.
play.
They go hard for their team. Respect to them for that. Like they're just a huge Nuggets rival. So I gotta hate them, but I got respect for
that's fair.
How hard they go for their fans go and how hard they go for their fans.
Okay. Our prediction is Thunder Pacers in the NBA Finals.
They're gonna be a fantastic finals.
Who do you got? Drop it in the comments right now.
Let us know.
Drop it in the comments right now. All I know is that we were talking about the schedules last week for the NFL, and we opened up our show with the mean shots fired comment coming Caveman's way. Broncos Titans Week 1. Give your predictions, because we got a Titans fan over here saying that the Saints are whack. So let me get your full. I want your full 4-quarter breakdown of this game real quick, HG. That's what I want to hear right now. That we got our NBA breakdown out of the way. I want your 4-quarter breakdown
on Broncos Titans.
Broncos Titans. What's gonna happen?
Okay, well, I'll say I think it's gonna be a low scoring to start this game, right? Because the Titans got a really underrated defense. All right, I think that's a solid defense. This is going to be kind of, some new weapons, new guys getting involved in this Broncos offense. I think they're going to be trying this to get a new running game established with RJ Harvey. So, maybe 10-0. Broncos get a field goal in the first, get a good drive going into halftime, score a touchdown. So it's 10-0. Cam Ward, look, I think he's going to be a very productive starter in this league for a while, but this is a tough first game. You're on the road. in Mile High above sea level, so a place you probably don't have a lot of experience or playing in the first place against a really good defense. There's some the Titans' offensive line is pretty good, so I don't know if he'll be under like too much pressure, but just compared to the weapons that the Titans have versus who the Broncos got in that secondary and in that linebacking core, I think it's going to be tough for them to run the football. I think coming out of the halftime, they're going to get a good drive going, make it 10-7. But then that Broncos offense is going to start to wake up. They'll go down, score another touchdown. Then Cam Ward, going to start feeling the pressure, and we're going to see, I'll say like his second turnover of the game. It won't be a pick six, but the Broncos will turn that into a field goal. And then, so it'll be 20-10 end of the third, or 20-7 into the third. But the Cam Ward, he's going to lead a solid drive, but it's going to end up in the punt. Then the Broncos, they're going to go down and also have their drive into the punt. So we're going to have some time taken off. So Cam Ward gets the ball back and they do get a quicker drive, get a field goal up. So it's 20-10. But then the Broncos come on, 4-minute offense, drive the ball, chew up a lot of clock, score a touchdown, and seal this thing up. Get out of there with a 27-10 victory.
I like it. And you were fair with your judgment there. Because we're going to flash forward to week 17 of this upcoming season, where the Saints are going in that Nissan Stadium in Nashville, take on the Titans. I mean, at this point in the season, obviously, the Saints most likely are going to be undefeated because Tyler Shuck is just going to be in the quarterback.
Just carving up that league.
He's already in a little quarterback building room right now. Kellen Moore. They got a lot of good guys to try and build them up. But if it goes as planned, obviously the Saints will be undefeated going into this game. And it's going to be just a masterclass, monster 6 touchdown game from Tyler Shuck.
Like Saints
just tearing them up.
63-7. Titans will get one.
Classic Saints beatdown. And it's going to be Will Levis coming in and crunch.
Be like what Drew Brees did to the Colts. Who was their quarterback for the Colts the year like Peyton Manning was hurt? And they didn't it was an early Sunday night football game. And obviously when the schedules came out, Peyton was supposed to play, but that didn't happen.
It would have been sick. It would have been a great head-to-head matchup.
And instead the Saints hung one on it. I think that was the score, was 63-7. But they might have almost scored 70. It might have been 69 or 68-7, something like that. And I don't even know who the Colts quarterback was, but that was just a brutal year. A real unfortunate that was a situation that Indianapolis got into. Really good to show how much Peyton carried that team, because it's the defense. That's nothing Peyton can do about that. And so you're just his ability to control an offense and probably take up long drives made his life easier for his defense. But Saints weren't having none of that.
All seriousness, though, I think Cam Ward probably going to have a pretty good season. They got some decent guys for him. Their defense, it's a pretty good defense to piggyback a young quarterback on. Kind of similar. Broncos, before they really had some of their big offensive games and some of their big moments, they were really relying on that defense to help and develop their young quarterback. And it honestly really helps. Because we see it kind of working out now.
Good offensive line and a solid defense. Make your life easy on your young QBs, man. Don't it's too much to expect them to come in and be the savior right away, Give them a year where they don't have to, don't make them have to be the hero right away.
Yeah.
Gives a good time to get their confidence up, to develop. And, when they make mistakes, it's not just killer. You got a defense that can go out there and bail you out.
When you have great players on your defense, they will also want to have those moments where it feels like the game is in their hands and they get to make that game deciding play late and just have the opportunity to change the game from like them making a play.
Exactly.
I mean, you get some veteran defensive players and some good defensive players an opportunity to shine. You know, kind of helps everybody out.
All right, you want to talk about defense getting a chance to shine, man? The St. Louis Battlehawks doing it again, just putting one on. I mean, albeit the worst team in the league, but the San Antonio Brahmas smacked around silly, 39-13. Max Duggan played his last half of football before the postseason. Looks like he's going to just be the guy going forward. So he's good confidence building win.
This was a decent one from him.
For
Only
him.
17 attempts, though.
But again, he only played the first half. And he was 12-17, 133 in the touchdown. Led a nice drive at the end of the half to score a touchdown. And to really, kill any confidence that these Brahmas had. Because he punches it in with around, 1:11 left to go. Brahmas were able to get a field goal before that, but their offense really sputtered out there. Aside from an opening drive, field goal, 2 punts, and then 2 turnovers on downs for them in the rest of the game. That second half defense out of the Battlehawks was fantastic. So many guys with like 7, 5, 6, 7 tackles. Cameron Kelly, Nate Meters, Mike Rose, Callahan O'Reilly, all with 7 tackles right there. We have only 1 sack too. It wasn't like a crazy day for sacking the quarterback, but they just forced a lot of bad throws just off of the pressure. Kellen Mond, man, 14-26 for 103.
That's not really too bad.
Brahmas had a solid run game, but the Battlehawks collective, 32 attempts between all their runners for 169 and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Silvers, man, he comes into the game manages that thing out to be really efficient. Spreading the wealth, getting some of these receivers involved. Ja'Cour Pearson, he's really having a nice end of the season here. Hakeem Butler, 5 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown. Blake Jackson, Frank Darby getting involved, a couple of catches there. Darby caught a touchdown.
Yeah.
Good confidence building win here. Kind of just rolling over the last team in the league. And,
That's what you need going into the playoffs,
right.
though.
You're playing the Defenders, and they actually lost, so you could be hosting that game in the Battle Dome. Battlehawks have only lost 1 game in that building since they've started playing ball there. Talk about, that's the best home field advantage in the whole UFL right there.
They're some of the best fans, honestly. They lost their team to LA. They had a professional NFL team.
Now, I'll say,
those people like football.
No city deserves a football team back more than St. Louis, man. They loved football there, bro. So unfortunate that they lost that team to LA, man. And it's they also the Chargers are also there. Dude, it's nobody cares about football in LA. It's third on the sports tier list. I mean, if the Kings are doing good, maybe even fourth. It's just.
But they still have Lakers, the Warriors,
the Lakers, the Clippers,
Dodgers, and even
Warriors
the Angels.
San Fran.
Still California.
Yeah.
Still California.
Just,
honestly, was a more hype team in all of California.
Just in LA. LA is first and foremost the basketball town.
Yeah, that's basketball.
That'll always be the king there. But then, the Dodgers have been such a good team there for a while, and they've been a huge commodity in LA. It's St. Louis, all they had were the Rams, and they lost them. Now they got the Battlehawks.
They moved, and their team got better, too. It was what was the change in moving where your stadium was to go and get Matthew Stafford and win a Super Bowl?
St. Louis, they got subjected to, years of, Jeff Fisher and Sam Bradford being mid. Although they did have Steven Jackson. You remember Steven Jackson on the Rams?
Dude.
Bowling ball of a human being. Love that guy, bro. He just was one of the last of a dying breed of power backs in the NFL. All right, Cave, man.
Can't forget about your boy C.J. Anderson.
Yeah.
He
was the bowling ball running back out there.
He racked up 1,000-yard season for the Broncos.
Okay, man, what happened with the Panthers here? This game,
what the heck?
Both teams played their best ball in the second half, but Birmingham just outplayed the Panthers there in the fourth quarter.
They got us again, man. They got us again. I thought this was finally going to be the week that we could take them out. They had a really bad week coming into this one.
And Birmingham has really been living or dying off of the big play these past few weeks. Dion Kane, bro, this guy has been a monster for them the past 2 weeks. He had 4 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown in this one. But a lot of their best drives came off of some deep shots here. And they were able to finish them off in the red zone.
Still no Bryce Perkins for the Panthers either. I think that might be what's killing us. And a good rating from him, but the accuracy. 22 of 39.
Yeah.
235 and a touchdown.
I also think Danny Etling hasn't been that much of a threat with his legs, and he's a decent running quarterback.
Yeah, only 3 attempts in this one.
And that was what was making the Panthers offense so hard to stop, is Bryce Perkins' threat with his legs.
We had UFL Lamar Jackson in the house,
basically,
just running around.
Jamar Smith on the Birmingham side, I got to give him credit. He's been fantastic these last few weeks.
He's been played well.
Like I've been saying, the deep ball for Birmingham, they have just been living and dying off of that. I mean, they'll have drives just sputter out after one play, but they hit that deep shot and it's something clicks. Then they're able to just finish off these drives. I think their only drive where they didn't really have to rely on the deep ball was this last one. They go 11 plays, 72 yards. And they just really methodically worked it down the field, bled out a lot of clock there. And made it really tough for a Panthers comeback there. Didn't leave them a ton of time. They had the score.
Significantly killed us on just gang tackling.
Oh, yeah.
Really, they honestly rallied to the football a lot better than us in this game. And later in that game, when they finally got that last stop, is when it really came down to it, because they got down the field.
I mean, one possession where instead, the Panthers fumbled the ball, a chance to go down and tie it up, or not, they had a chance to go down and tie it up, and they lost it instead. That kind of killed them. That was a huge costly turnover.
It makes it tough because that gives them a chance at home field advantage. They just lost the last week before to you guys by 1 point, the Battlehawks.
Right.
And it was on a game that they kind of collapsed near the end right there. Team where they were both playing their best football and just collapsed at the end. But they had a really bad week coming into this one. A chance for us to take a higher seed and get home field advantage. It looks like we'll be playing in Birmingham.
Yep. And that was where this game was at. They got a solid crowd out there in Birmingham. So this will probably be the last week we'll see any starters until the postseason, I imagine. Playoffs are set. We know it's going to be Michigan and Birmingham. Now it looks like after this game, Birmingham will host, unless they blow their game next week. And St. Louis will more than likely be hosting the Defenders. They were the last game of the week. Before we get to them, we'll just real quickly touch on Arlington.
Wow.
Schlacking the Showboats.
30-12.
This
Another
game,
beatdown. Not as bad as the Brahmas, though.
Yeah, no playoff implications here, but a team, Arlington, that just couldn't find a way to win some close games that would have probably been in the postseason if they were able to do that. But they had a good showing here. Luis Perez, we already knew he was going to be a good QB this season.
Oh, they got Marquette King. That's crazy.
They do. Tyler Vaughn, he had a big game here.
Come on, Rennie.
EJ Perry, Dresser went for the Showboats, struggling immensely. When they're not playing San Antonio, they just can't get it going, it seems. But this game, pretty much from start to finish, Arlington was well in control. Looked like it might be close because the Showboats, they found a way to put together some drives there at the end of the half, make it a close game, make it 12-9 going into halftime, and then they just got absolutely worked the rest of the game. Outscored 12-0 in the fourth quarter on their way to a 30-12 defeat. So confidence building win for Arlington, who maybe they're close to maybe taking that next step next year and being a playoff team. And who knows, might be a little easier to get it next year because there are rumors of expansion coming to the UFL.
That's what you love to see. Get a little bit of that talent disparity gone. Some of these guys going to other teams.
So I'm here, anything from some New York teams, potentially somewhere in Florida, maybe a Pennsylvania team. We could probably see a California team seems almost a sure thing. I would like to see, again, some more smaller market or smaller towns. That's what I kind of like about this. St. Louis is one. Arlington, Birmingham. I mean, Michigan they're in Detroit, but still, like Memphis. That's another fun one.
Yeah, Memphis is a good one.
Like if you're gonna do a Florida team, don't do it Miami. Like Tampa would be cool.
DC's growing, but again, that's one.
Yeah. Like a city that doesn't already have 4 major sports teams in it, Or unless it's Denver. If we could get a UFL team here in Denver, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be sick.
But I don't know. It doesn't sound like we're on the roster.
I would honestly rather
they should
have
put a team in
WNBA
Portland.
team.
I'm kind of interested to see what would be a team in Portland. I think that would be interesting. Boise, Idaho too. I feel like they would go crazy with a team in Boise, Idaho.
Okay, I like that. But honestly, though,
yeah, give me some other picks, guys.
Drop those in the comments right now.
Yeah,
what's a good pick for UFL city? Let us know.
Where do you want to see a UFL team?
We know Jimmy loves UFL. Let's get one right out. North Dakota.
Low key, Baton Rouge. Put one in Louisiana, just not New Orleans. Baton Rouge. I think that'd be kind of sick.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, we'll see if anything comes to pass with that. But on to the last game of the weekend, and the Roughnecks doing the Battlehawks a huge favor, taking down the Defenders 24-21. I was about to say 13 points in the third quarter for Houston, and then they just narrowly survive a 12-0 fourth quarter by DC. Defenders just not quite able to get the job done. They were so close. I mean, a late fumble that the Defenders were able to turn into a touchdown, but then they had to go for that alternate kickoff to give themselves a chance, and that's when the Roughneck defense made a stand. And the safety was the lone points Houston had after one quarter. They were down 9-2, and then they scored 9 points of their own. Looks like they're pulling away before DC almost came storming back. But I'm glad the Defenders were able to hold on here. And now the Battlehawks hopefully just need to win out next week, I think, to play it safe, and they'll have home field where they will host the Defenders. And Jordan Teamu, they did pull him early in this one because, again, there's not a whole lot of no playoff implications here besides maybe some seeding. So not risk, let them play a half, pull them out, not risk it getting hurt. Cornell Powell, he's making me a little nervous when the Battlehawks have to play him. This dude's been balling out the past 2 weeks. He had 8 catches for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. He's just on the nose for the end zone. Him and Chris Rowland, sneaky good receiving duo here. If you're Houston, though, some things to hang your hat on. Jalen McClellan, I think he can be your quarterback. of the future, so long as he doesn't, get snatched up for by the NFL or a
they
more
just got to keep him
better
under wraps.
opportunity. But he's looking like a real good player for them there. And they figured some things out in the run game. Lorenzo Lingard, will he still be around with the team? If so, that'd be big. Justin Hall, second-year player for them. He had 10 catches for 126 yards.
Big day.
Yeah. Kiki Chisholm finally doing something this season. Caught 2 touchdown passes. So something for Houston to potentially hang their hats on. Big win, though, for them and for the Battlehawks, more importantly, to really set the stage. This next week is going to be a pretty down week in terms of viewing. Some teams, playing for pride. Other teams just trying to stay healthy and get ready for the postseason. We'll still give you a brief update on that as it comes on, but that's going to do it for the UFL Week 9 recap.
Week 10, we got St. Louis at DC for their final matchup. Houston playing Michigan, Arlington, and San Antonio. And the last matchup, Birmingham gets to go to Memphis to play the Showboats. That's the last final matchup.
And I do believe that St. Louis game might require somebody to win that because, the Defenders did beat the Battlehawks Week 3 this season. So,
this actually comes down to the wire for a home field advantage now.
This will be interesting because, how are they going to play this? Because 7-2 St. Louis, they lose. They're 7-3, but they're down 2-0 in the season series to DC. So I think they might actually have to win this game. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to say screw it, and
we'll play them at
other guys out, and we'll just play them again next week.
Yeah,
not risking it being fully healthy. Maybe both teams sit their starters. That's going to be an intriguing one. That's probably the game to watch there.
That one opens up
Friday
night
at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. That'll be the one to watch. The rest of these, some teams playing for pride. I don't think Michigan's going to play their starters against Houston. Birmingham probably won't play their starters against Memphis. Can the Brahmas get a win for some confidence going into the next year? They're going to finish 1-9. I mean, what a turnaround! Being the champion and the championship runner-up last season to the bottom feeder.
They need at least one
of the league this year.
Arlington, let them have it. They had such a great defense last season too.
Yeah,
lost a good majority of those guys to the NFL.
I mean, they didn't lose too many of their playmakers on offense. A different quarterback. The offensive line took a little bit of a regression, but I didn't think it'd be like that.
Yeah, that
shocking of a drop.
Huge difference. Yeah,
Wade Phillips gets out of there early. And young head coach that really hasn't had any experience doing this before. It's gonna be tough. It's tough for him. All right. Well, let's predict these winners real quick. So Birmingham, Michigan, who you got?
I am going Michigan. Come on, finish out the season with the dub.
There we go. Yeah,
we need it.
And then St. Louis and DC, the Battlehawks. I believe
go Battlehawks.
Their defense has been just playing out of their mind. Travis Freeney and Peter Tiamo, who are just an elite pass rushing combo in this league.
No.
They're hard to stop, and they generate so much havoc out there.
They're great.
Max Duggins,
Brahmas. Who do we got? I'm going Brahmas, man. Give me the Brahmas.
Yeah, come on, get
final matchup.
Nah, the Renegades are gonna crush them. Renegades are
with it. Brahmas.
Renegades are gonna crush them. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Till the Final Whistle. We'll be back again next week with a look at the NBA Finals and Stanley Cups Finals coming up. That and so much more. You'll just have to tune in next week to find out what we talk about. I'm HG. We got Caveman, H on the sound. That's going to do it for our show on the Military Broadcast Radio. We'll see you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, We want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.